About to go live here in just a second. Live on the recording of the podcast. We're already obviously live here. Episode 178. We're talking about. Um, we're continuing our talk on prioritization versus balance, and today we're talking about make time, don't find it. The fight for intentional living. All about being intentional. If you struggle with that, we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, be talking to you here, talking to the people listening, and then talking to my co-host over there. But yeah, we were just catching up on the Liver King stuff. You're getting more than what the people are that listen to this podcast. So, Liver King seems like he's losing his mind, but anyways, and I have to clear my throat. So, excuse me, YouTube. Excuse me to my wife.
Mute it. Gosh.
Mute what? You can't mute that.
You can't mute loud? Okay.
All right, here we go.
That's disgusting.
Ready? 3, 2. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Made4More podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about leadership and personal development. We want to make sure that we are growing as individuals so that we can motivate, inspire, and encourage those around us. If you don't know this already, no one can pour from an empty cup. So it's very important that we continue to grow as individuals and that as we grow, we pour into other people's lives. So listen to this. We say we don't have time, but that's rarely true. What we actually don't have is a plan. And without a plan, our time gets hijacked by everything and everyone else. I don't know if you've ever been there, but when you say you don't have time, think about it. It's rarely true. We live in a world that never slows down. So how do we stay grounded in what truly matters? It's not about managing time perfectly. It's about living intentionally, choosing purpose over pressure. Life won't hand us space to focus. We have to fight for it, protect it, choose it every single freaking day. Charles Buckton said this: you will never find time for anything. If you want time, you must make it. That's the direction we're going to be heading today. So how do you choose purpose over pressure? What happens when we have so much to do and we feel as if we don't have enough time? So stay tuned. We're going to get going. But yeah, we are talking about choosing purpose over pressure, the way of intentional living. So how do we intentionally live our lives and prioritize our lives in a way that we have time for things? So first, welcome to the podcast. If it's your first time listening, appreciate it. You can go to wherever you're listening to the podcast, rate us, give us a review. We'd appreciate it. Leave us a comment. And did you know that right now we are live on YouTube? So if you're listening, you can go to YouTube and listen or watch. So if you're listening to this after the fact that we release this, you're probably not going to see it live. You'll see it under the live category. So you can go to the live category and you'll see that this is on there. We also have the WLC, which is the Weekly Leadership Challenge email. It comes out every Monday, and it is a quick leadership challenge for individuals, your team, or organization. You can go to the podcast notes where you're listening to this and click weekly newsletter. And then you can follow us on the socials, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X. We have all those in the podcast notes as well. So before we move on, I'd like to say, Jamie, welcome back.
Thank you. It's been a while.
It has been a while. How's everything going?
Good.
I'm trying to, one of the things that we haven't had a problem with is on our YouTube is as we are recording people that are inappropriate live. So you just keep talking. So catch everybody else up. What have we been doing for summer? How are things going?
Busy. It's funny. I feel like summer is busy, but it's a good busy, I guess. I'm just trying to make sure the girls have an enjoyable summer before, school and all those things kick back into high gear. So, especially our oldest. So
should be a sophomore.
Starting dance every morning, early practice, and
we've taken a couple trips already. Went to the lake, went to see our family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
it's been good.
Yeah, it has been good. But here we go. Does this topic make you nervous?
It does, and then at the same time, when you're reading the intro, I feel like there are things that I do prioritize.
Yeah, no doubt.
So just things that I wish that I prioritized better.
Yeah.
Other things.
But I think everybody can fall into that category.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are talking about make time, don't find it, fight for intentional living, I think everyone at some point can get a little anxious because I believe if we're going to get started in this episode, I feel like most of us have caught ourselves saying, I just don't have time. If only there were more time. I don't know where time's going. I don't know where I'm going to find time. And one of the most famous ones, popular ones, is I just need to find more time. So the good news is you're not the only one that's said that. I'm sure you've said that. I've said that. The bad news is, here's the bad news for all of us. You're not going to find more time.
No.
You're not going to find more time. But I will ask you, if you find that time, let me know. It's like I've said before, if you find that time, let me know, because I've been looking for it forever. And I've said that over and over again because I've overextended my priorities, and I've said yes to everything instead of saying no. I've tried to people please, and then I see that I'm trying to balance rather than prioritize all these things. So today's episode, we must fight for intentional living, because you got to make time, don't find it. Make time, don't find it. So yeah, here we go. I think if you didn't listen to the last episode, let me just recap real quick. I'm not going to get into everything that we talked about in episode 177. You can go listen to it. But the main takeaway was we don't need more balance. We need more priorities. And this goes along the lines of what we're talking about today. We have a limited amount of time, 24 hours a day. Every single one of us, we've heard that saying all the time. But whatever you fit in that 24 hours is up to you and I. We can make the excuses. We can blame other people. But in the end, it's up to us to remove our thoughts about balance and input priorities. And I know I've challenged all of our clients on this and it's funny to get pushback, because really what happens when you talk about balance and priorities, all of us have to just take ownership of what our priorities are, because it's so easy for us to go back to, I just don't have time. And we catch ourselves saying, I don't have time, or where am I going to find this time? And I've said it, like I said, I say it all the time. But we have to go back and prioritize our lives, prioritize our tasks, our relationships, and then just execute. So it's all about having somewhat of a plan. And that's in episode 177. So if you haven't listened, you can go back and check that out. But yeah, I love being a planner. I think for me, that, I believe this, but Sundays I'm typically redoing my 30, 60, 90. Recently, I've been doing this big three mentality. What needs to get done this week? The big three things that need to get done. So if I practice what I preached this week, it was this podcast, it was payroll for one of our clients, and it was meeting with my clients. So those are the big three things that I was supposed to do, and I've got them done. But then I plan out each day, because each day has something that needs to get done. So if you're listening, you're watching, what did you get done this week that you need to get done? The big three things. And then each day has things I got to get done. So there's a to-do list. I like knowing what I'm going to be doing. I like to plan on Sunday, like, hey, what's this week come up with? But there are days where no plan is made, and I get out of bed going, I got this. I'll just do things as they come up. And then halfway through the day, I'm either distracted with video games, upset because I didn't go on a run or work out that morning, and other things need my attention. Other people need my attention. The conversation goes longer than anticipated, which is all okay. But at the end of the day, I'm frustrated. I'm upset with myself. I'm angry with myself. I'm exhausted because I was not intentional. And the worst part is I knew going into that day that I didn't have a plan, and I needed a plan. Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't quite operate the same way you do.
Yeah. I think, well, yeah. And again, we're all different, right? I mean, the people watching, the people listening, we're all different. Some of us want a plan. Some of us don't need a plan. But I think at the end of the day, if I feel like I've just been spinning my wheels and I didn't get things done that I needed to get done, it's because I didn't have a plan. Yeah. And I think our oldest is a good example of Sundays. It's crazy because she's been doing it since she was maybe 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah.
She'd get up
on her own.
Yeah. I mean, one,
not an
every day she's typically up at 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
But But Sundays, it's interesting watching her because she has a routine of vacuuming, laundry,
cleaning her bathroom, and her bedroom,
dusting her bedroom,
mm-hmm.
and all of that every Sunday. And that's all on her own.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of mentality going into, if you can get that down as you're young, like again, plan. For me, that's the way I see. But the thing that I don't enjoy is getting to the end of the day feeling exhausted and upset, going, I didn't follow my plan. And there's going to be days, I want people to know that there's going to be days that I don't stick to a plan or regimen all the time. But if I know it's midweek and I have to get stuff done and I don't have a plan for that day, and I'm not intentional with my time, then I'm upset.
Yeah. I say I will do that, like when it comes to work or something that does have to be done by a certain time. Mm-hmm. Then it's on my schedule, it's on my calendar. It is planned out, and I'm prepared to get that done by a certain time. Yeah. But I don't operate as rigid as you do on my daily life.
Yeah.
I've always kind of been more of a however the day goes.
Yeah. And that's okay. But I think I have more things on my plate than you do at certain times that I want to get done.
Yeah, you may have like specific things.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
But your work may be more than mine. But again, you're prioritizing that. You're saying, I have to get these things done.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, then you'd be frustrated at the end of the day going, crap, I got to stay up and work. So if you find yourself listening to this and you're going, I'm up at the end of the night, I can't figure out why I'm so frustrated because I can't get things done. So my question is just maybe you're a planner and you haven't planned, or maybe you're not a planner and you need to learn to plan. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. I just know at the end of the day, if you feel frustrated, angry with yourself, exhausted, you have to ask yourself, was I intentional with my time? Because that's what we're talking about today. And are we being intentional with the time that we have? Because we're not going to find more. Now, I know I'm not the only one that's done this, but we've all said those things that I mentioned earlier. I just don't have time. There's not enough time. If only there was more time. I don't know where I'm going to find the time. I just need to find more time. The truth is, again, that we just didn't own our day. That's the hard part, is hearing the ownership side of it. So I usually, when I coach, I typically ask people, okay, what does ownership say about this problem or scenario that we're talking about? So you and I are talking about being prioritized and not having a plan. The truth is we didn't own the day. Like, we didn't own what needed to get done that day. We allowed the day to own us, going, time's just going. Before you know it, you're like, oh, I'm going to take a lunch. I'll get it done after lunch. And then after lunch, you're like, oh, I want to take a rest. I'm going to play a video game, whatever it is. And then you're scrolling, and then you go, man, I didn't get anything done. Now tomorrow's stacked. So the truth is, it's that we didn't own our day. Our day owned us. There are times that some of us, I like this part that we talk about, that we live in reaction mode. We're just waiting to react to everything. We are living on the defense instead of offense. We wait for something to take our time instead of giving our time to what we need to do or want to do, meaning reaction mode. Like, crap, I snoozed 4 or 5 times. I'm reacting to, I'm already behind. I'm having to react and go, now I got to rush. I got to take a shower. I got all those things rather than, and I'm not picking on anybody that hits snooze. I'm just saying, are you being intentional with the time that you have? Because at the end of the day, if we say I don't have enough time, we have to first look at ourselves in the mirror and go, was I living reactively today? Did I not proactively get up, hit the ground running? And again, it's not going to happen every single day. I'm just trying to get to the point of, we got to be intentional with our time and what we give our time to. And I wrote this down. It's not because we're lazy. There's days that I think you can be lazy, but I believe that we should plan for rest. And I think there's a freaking social media post that I should have reposted. I'll probably repost it later, but there was an awesome post. It was in big bold letters. It just said, learn to rest, not to quit. Meaning, as leaders, don't freaking give me the excuse that you want to quit. Learn to rest. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're going too hard in the paint of, you're working 60 hours a week for 5 months. Of course your body's gonna say, I'm burnout. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things we'll probably get to is we start having conversations with people being burnt out because of our failure to plan. And I'm not picking on anyone, or I'm not thinking of anyone when I'm talking about this. I'm just saying all the people that I've worked with, myself included, when I reach to those points when I'm Leading on Empty, that book again, it's because I'm not prioritizing my time, and I'm giving everything my time. And then I'm in reaction mode, like we just said, and it's not because I'm lazy, it's because I'm doing too much all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Prioritize, have a plan, and then plan to rest. Like create a plan to rest, not to quit. And that's another, I mean, that's a whole topic on itself. We could talk about how to rest. But I do think that the reason that we have a hard time resting is because we weren't taught to be intentional. We were taught to be busy. I mean, think about it. It's what I've taught my daughters at times too. Freaking work. Like, what are you doing to work? Be busy. Don't be the one that's sitting around. No, be intentional with your time. So being intentional instead of busy, there is a difference. Busy is like maybe there's nothing to do, so I'm just doing random crap. Well, why not ask what needs to be done at this time? Well, it needs to be swept. Okay, well then let me sweep. I mean, I think of the stores that we ran. There was always something to do, but when customers came in, your intentionality was to be with that customer. When we were slow, there's a list of things that need to be done, but there were certain things that need to be done in certain orders to go. What takes priority? Now, if you just start working on a to-do list and you're like, well, I didn't do the thing I needed to do first. Well, at some point, you're going to have to do it. Again, there's a difference between being busy and intentional. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where most of our listeners find themselves. Maybe you do find yourself just being busy and not intentional because it's easy to be busy. You have a to-do list of 20 things, but none of them need to be done today. Something else needs to be done today. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think what we've been talking about eating the ugly frog first. If you have 5 frogs, why not eat the ugly frog first? Because you got to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
And you put stuff off. So I think one of the biggest things I struggle with is when leaders wait till the last minute to I don't know. We've had conversations with this, whether it was somebody that I interviewed or it's just like if you need to have a tough conversation and don't wait till 4:45 p.m. And then you got to have your employee go home with something heavy. Think about them and go, hey, let's have this conversation. Let's get it out of the way and let's talk through it rather than, hey, it's the end of the day, see you later. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's on the weekend. Then you're adding stress to an employee. And it's all how you want to run your team. But I think there's conversations that you can have at the beginning of the day. And then some, I mean, one of my clients waited till Friday because she knew that that's when it needed to be done. So she did it. She knocked it out. That's awesome. But when it's our team member, that's a tough thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but all this to go back to, we have to be intentional with our time. Be intentional, not busy. So, does any of that resonate?
I'm trying to figure out how it relates to. I mean, my full-time job is being a mom, so I'm trying to figure out how that relates to so much of my time is relational.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as much tasks as it is time spent with my kids and.
Okay, so if I said you need to go to HEB, we don't need to go to the laundromat, but if I said HEB, laundromat, the bank, go let somebody's dog out, but our girls are home at school, priority is relationship. So in my mind, rather than being busy, you go, hey, do you want to go with me so I can teach you something? Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you can be busy. Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I just think when you and I say that we don't have enough time, it's because we're not being intentional with our time. But then when you and I say I'm just busy, that goes back to what we talked about last week, which was, are you being busy or you need to prioritize? Yeah. Or do you need to look at what tasks you go, hey, things got to get done, but I can invite somebody with me. You can prioritize that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
It does. It's just, I think it's a little bit different when you've got other, I don't know how to explain it. Because, you deal with people at work too.
Mm-hmm.
But my time sometimes is dictated by my children.
Someone else, yeah.
And if they need to talk about something or something needs to get done on their side, then my schedule then becomes that, as opposed to just being able to say, oh, this is what my day is going to look like. My day is also dictated by someone else, which I guess that's the case with the team at work as well.
Yeah, because I would think
somebody can walk into your office and completely change your schedule.
But if that's what they need, I would rather give my employee, my team member, even my boss to go, do you need to talk about something? Sure. Well then, hey, give me 5 minutes to put this stuff away and then come in and let's do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you're right. Relationally, that's important. And I think that's what happens like if someone's listening or watching that is a team member of a team and you know that you're not the boss, quote unquote the boss, you can't prioritize certain things that your boss has to prioritize. You have to stay busy. But there's things that I think you need to go, I need to have a conversation with him or her because I'm feeling off, or hey, I'm not in the right mindset. I need to, those are the kind of things that I go, okay, you may not have the luxury of doing some of the things that your leader or boss has or manager, but you still have the right to go. I say right, meaning you're still a human being and you can go, hey, I need to have a conversation with somebody because this is what's going on. You're prioritizing something that is important, even if you're at work. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So, but yeah, but going back to being intentional with your time. If I'm going to work and I know I have a 5-hour shift and I'm the bartender, but I know that next week something's come up because I have to go on a funeral, but I just found out I need to leave. I go in there and go, my intentionality is to talk to the boss first thing. Why wait till the end of the shift when you're going to surprise him or her? Like, be intentional with your time. Go tell them, hey, I'm going to need off next week. I need somebody to cover. Because now you have 5 hours to find somebody to cover all your shifts next week. Does that make sense? So just trying to get back to being intentional with our time, not reactive. So what I want us to get today, if you don't get anything today, if you're listening, if you're driving, if you're watching, if you don't get anything from this podcast today, please get this. Shooting from the hip, or winging it, as some people say, every day might feel as if we're being spontaneous, but over time, it's going to create a massive amount of stress and anxiety. And when that builds in our lives, because we're shooting from the hip or winging it, it's going to transfer to our team, which I've always said, chaos breeds chaos. So if you're a leader of a team and you're shooting from the hip constantly, or you're winging it, your team and maybe you're wondering why your team's so stressed. I would ask, am I bringing the chaos of the way I lead into their world? So chaos breeds chaos. So shooting from the hip or winging it brings us a massive amount of stress and anxiety to you as a leader, but then it transfers to the team, it transfers to our families, it transfers to our relationships. Because if you and I are exhausted from doing things out of order or being reactive, at some point that's going to come into your relationships, it's going to come into the way you lead teams. We can't allow our inability to plan or have a plan to create a gap in our relationships. Let me say that again. We cannot allow our inability to plan or to have a plan to create a gap in our relationships. Meaning, if I'm the leader of an organization and everybody's waiting on me and I fail to plan, you're the one that is putting a gap in the way you're leading. It's not your team's fault. And that's the hardest part that I've seen in places I've worked, because I'm waiting for someone else to create a move, trying to be intentional with my time, but we haven't moved because someone's not moving. So if we're failing to see this, it could be damaging to our goals, our relationships, any kind of progress we make that we're trying to make as a team. So you need to ask. I want you to ask yourself, is our team here? And this is something that I do. If I pause right now and just say, you can click Insta, Facebook, or TikTok, or any of those, and you can DM me, because this is what we do. We try to come in and try to remove the chaos so that your team can be cohesive, the culture can be cohesive, and that you can move forward as a team with goals, tasks, relationships, all those things. And that's something I think that we're really good at, because that's what we're doing right now. We remove the chaos. So when and if we do this, as far as, not being intentional with our time, when we're not intentional with our time, I think it leaves us scatterbrained. Those are the things we use. It leaves us scatterbrained, emotionally drained, which one of the ways we talk about emotionally drained in today's culture is called burnout. And it leaves us, I think, in the end, disappointed with ourselves, which means I don't have confidence in myself. I don't know what's wrong with me. Those are the things we tend to say. And really, it's not a personal problem. It's a It's a system problem. I had this conversation with somebody. We have to change this because I talked to one of our guys last night, and what I was saying was, I think what we do is we say, if I can just work hard, which translates to if I can just be busy, then it's going to lead to success. Not necessarily. You can be spinning your tires. Tires are going to work. The car works, but you're not going anywhere. So you and I can be busting our butt at work, but not making any progress. So that's why I'm saying here, if we can be intentional with our time, that creates traction going, I know where I'm going. I know I'm making progress. So you and I can be very, very busy and not go anywhere. Meaning it's probably a system problem going, okay, let's look at your goals. Let's look at your priorities. What do you need to do? Move around so that you feel that traction going forward. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So we have to change this. I hate seeing someone who's disappointed in themselves because no one's taught them different than just being busy. Like, oh, I thought if I just worked hard, I'd meet these goals. No, there's systems and processes that you probably need to have in place so that you can get to where you need to go. And that's one of the things I want us to change is if you're disappointed in yourself, if you're upset, you're emotionally drained, burnt out, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's just the system that you've created or that you've known that we need to change. So on the flip side, though, if you think about this, having a plan, even in an imperfect plan, it gives you what? It gives you clarity because you know where you're going. If you and I have a map, we know where we're going. We're determined on where we want to go. It's about intention. And it's saying, not this is what I'm going to do. It's saying this is who I want to be and what I want to give my time to. So we've always said it's not about what you do. It's not about where you go. It's about who I want to be. So at the end of the day, you can go, man, this is who I was today. I was someone with intention, and this is what I got done with my team because I had a plan, even if it's an imperfect plan. So what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Thanks, good.
Yeah. So that's what today's all about.
I'm trying to figure out how it applies to people outside of work.
Like stay-at-home moms or dads?
Or anybody, like once you're home, does this apply to you once you're...
I think so, because I think that, so let's say it's 3:00 and you drive up, you know that dinner needs to be made. Let's just play the scenario. Dinner needs to be made. There's dishes. Dog needs to be walked. Somebody needs to be picked up from school. There's things that you're going to put in order, but I would go back and go, like what I would challenge myself, what you're saying, I'd go to set myself up for success. Have I made a plan for the dishes? Like you did the other day. Why are the dishes dirty? We should be washing them every night so that when we get there the next day, that's already marked off. That's already, like I said, it's a system. It's not about me or you being a bad person or our girls. It's a system put in place to go, we're being successful the next day. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you're putting things in plan that you don't even have to think about. I can come home and make dinner because 1, we already know what we're making. 2, dishes are clean. There's already a system in that. We already have a menu of what we're making tonight. Now you go, I'll go walk the dog if you go pick up the girls. So all of a sudden you're living in a prioritized way because you've communicated. But what this just said is you have clarity. If you and I don't have clarity, that means we don't have communication and we've never sat down and made a plan. But we've done that where you go, hey, can you pick up the girls today because I have to stay late for work? Sure. Now for me on this side, now I'm going, I get done with this client at this time. Got to communicate with my daughter. Hey, it's going to be me. This is where I'm parked. It's a plan. You're creating a plan with no communication. That would suck because if you came in, I'd be like, hey, did you walk the dog? Why are the dishes dirty? What are we having for dinner? It's just about having clarity, which is a plan, which is communication as well. That's why I'd love other scenarios so we can talk about it.
I'm just thinking summertime, so my world looks very different working from home. And I think I feel the necessity of this. Like I can see how it would be beneficial. Mm. I've always kind of bucked up against making my whole day planned. I like the
but that's okay. But that's a plan. Just kind of what if it's rest?
Come and like if my daughter wants me to sit on the couch and watch a show with her as opposed to doing the dishes, and
that's okay though.
I want to be able to do that. So but that's what I'm saying. I'm sure there's a balance in there somewhere. I know you're trying not to say balance, but of using this even in what my world looks like. Yeah. As opposed to somebody who gets up and goes to the office. I can see when I'm at work, this kind of stuff. Like during the school year, this is right on the money for
Yeah.
me because our days do have to be planned out. There's too much going on to not make a plan.
Yeah.
It would be chaos, exactly what you're saying. But,
Yeah, no, you're right.
trying to figure out how this works in summer, but I do think it's important for sure.
Yeah, I just think that I want to make sure that we encourage people that are at stay at home. I mean, the better you have a plan, that plan is going to bring clarity to your week, your day, and then you communicate that. Meaning, if you're at stay at home and you want some time away, if I got home and you were gone, I'd be like, I text you, where you at? Oh, I decided to go out with the girls. Okay, I didn't know that, but that's cool. But then you come home one day and I'm like, well, we didn't ever talk about dinner or what. And you go, well, why didn't you stop by the store? Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
not
that's
a plan.
Communication.
Well, that's what, but part of that is bringing
communicate.
clarity,
Yeah.
which is communication, which is having a plan. Hey, we're going to have hamburgers tonight. Well, do we have everything? No, I got you. I'm just saying we do it more often than we think,
Mm-hmm.
but we panic when it comes to work or with a team, and then we leave chaos going, I don't need to plan here. No, you do need to plan because your team needs that. And clarity is also coming from an imperfect plan.
Yeah, and I do think it would benefit even our home life. As you're talking about it, I can see, like if there was a plan, I always think to myself, like, how am I gonna ever teach my girls? I mean, we've talked about this before. That Allie, she knows how to do her stuff. She does her own stuff. So how do we teach our girls to help with stuff that's not theirs?
Yeah.
And I think that's also part of where a plan would come in. If we had it scheduled, like one child helps with dinner, one child helps clean up from dinner,
Yeah.
To where it's
Yeah,
more
it's
of a
interesting.
team effort and we had it planned,
Mm-hmm.
then it's not a surprise. It's not, hey, I need you to get up and do the dishes, and you got a kid looking at you going, well, that sucks. I really just wanted to sit here right now, not get up and do the dishes because there's no plan. So which,
Yeah, but even if you
comes
have a
together
plan,
with the chaos, but
sometimes you don't want to do the plan.
no, you don't.
Yeah. So I'll let you plan that. But anyways, today's all about this, that we don't find time. We must make it, right? We must make the time to do what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just going to find it. We choose to make time for whatever's coming up, but then we say, hey, I don't have time for this. And this is what living intentionally is all about, is making time and then owning it, going, this is what my week consists of. And we know it because I think that we know how to do it. If we're leaving on vacation and we've had a long 2 months at work and you're going, I know where my vacation, you're already planning for that vacation. You know how to do it. You already know what you're doing. So do that daily, so that I would think eventually some people have high stress jobs and some of that stress may not leave with a plan, but I don't think it's going to be as intense over time. And then you're just waiting to leave and you're burnt out. So just try to help ourselves. So how in the world do we live intentionally? I just put this first. Number one, if you are dwelling on the fact that you feel like you've wasted time in the past, or you're not being intentional, I'm just saying let it go. Right now you have to forgive yourself and start fresh tomorrow or today, but give yourself some grace. Just let go that you're not a planner, or you're not as good as a planner, or you feel guilty because you have a family and you don't plan. Just let that go. You have to start somewhere. So you can make time by intentionally living, one, by just letting it go first. Like, just let go of the fact that you maybe feel like, hey, I've been wasting time my whole life. So number one, just give yourself some grace. Here's some of the things I want us to do if we're going to be planning on living intentionally. I said, number one, plan your transition. So this was interesting because it's something I'm working on right now at the moment. Wednesday, for example, I had a client from 10 to 11:30, and then one at 12:30. My transition is I have to drive 30 minutes. So that has already taken out. Now I have 30 minutes to get emotionally ready for another client to talk to me about whatever they're going through. And so what I'm asking myself, is that enough time to emotionally detach while I'm driving, make notes, sit in silence, whatever it is. But then Wednesday, I went over on that client. So I was there from 10 to 11:45. I hadn't had lunch. I'm already on the edge of going, I need something to eat. But now my window's shorter. I get here, our daughter's here, she's talking to me, and I'm going, crap. So what I'm saying is plan your transitions, because we don't. This is what I put, this is the way I felt Wednesday. I felt stressed, overwhelmed, and claustrophobic, meaning the windows are closed in, the walls are closing in, because I did not plan for the transition, meaning, hey, I need to move my meeting back to 1, so I have lunch. I can breathe. I can make notes on this last client that I just met with, and then I'm ready to send them an email, follow it to the next day, and then I'm purposely ready. So,
Or
meaning,
pack a lunch.
oh
so
yeah,
that
there you go. You're planning,
you already
right?
have
That's
it,
planning.
yeah.
Yes. So, and I think, yes, I know that we can't take time all the time in between clients. Some of us have back to back to back meetings, but if you can, plan it to where you can breathe. Take a 15-minute walk around your building or around your office. Go say hello to someone. The other thing that I thought was, just sit in the car before you drive up from the house and go, okay, I got to leave work at work. So play your favorite song, sit in silence, do whatever it takes, go get ice cream, whatever it is to go, this is how I need to plan this transition. I need to drive a different way home from work so that it doesn't feel like it's monotonous and the same thing over and over again. Plan that so that you go, I'm planning my transitions because I need to be present in the next moment, whether it's my family, my spouse, the next team, the next client. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, where I'm having to learn this was being a pastor, and then having to meet with certain things would happen, and I knew, like, after a funeral or a wedding or something intense happening, I was drained. But then someone was like, hey, you have a meeting or this, and I don't think we do very well in the realm of the nonprofit world of taking care of the people that have to do that. And I think it's just because we think that you have to be this, like, you're Superman as a pastor, which you're not.
No.
You're serving people. So learn to serve yourself before you serve other people.
Mm.
So anyways, it's learning to look at transitions, which equals margin. So when someone says, how much margin do you have in your life? If you're leading on an empty, you have none. But that's where I would go. If you feel overwhelmed right now, so everybody watching me right now and everybody listening, if you feel overwhelmed, I would say, number one, start with your margin. Like, start with your transitions. Today, right now, if you don't have anything planned for lunch, then go sit in your car and take a deep breath and journal or write out some things that you just need to brain dump. Or plan yourself a lunch by yourself or with your daughter or your son or your spouse, and go, okay, I got to plan my transitions. Plan your transitions. So have you ever thought about that?
No, but
Or do you do that and not knowingly? I mean, because sometimes, I sit outside. Sometimes I'm always like, hey, I'm out here just decompressing from either a tough phone call that we just had, or maybe a client that has a lot of stuff going on, and I'm like, okay, I got to just process this, because I think about counselors. Counselors have to do this.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to talk to Jay about this one. But what do you think? Transitions.
No, I think that's good. It's not something I think I've really thought about.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. I guess I've probably just done it without really thinking.
Yeah. I think we all do, but if you plan it, you already look towards that transition and go, I'm working on this. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to go check on everybody, see how so-and-so is doing.
Well, especially if you've already noticed that it causes you to feel anxious.
Yep.
So then you're recognizing, okay, well, that's something in my life that I can make a change so that I don't have to feel that chaos in that moment by planning ahead.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
Yeah, so if we're going to plan, if we are trying to live intentionally, number one, plan your transitions. Number two, I put this, the next 90 rule, meaning some of us have heard of this. I've heard this. I tried it when I was a youth pastor, and it worked for a little bit, but you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional and committed to this and consistent. So the next 90 rule is ask yourselves, what do I need to get done in the next 90 minutes? Like, in the next 90 minutes of my day, what I need to get done, and stay focused on that, and then take a 15 to 20 minute break after. So like this podcast, writing this podcast, if I could shut the door and go, for the next 90 minutes, I got to stay locked in, leave the phone off or have music on, whatever it is to stay locked in. Now, if you can't do that for 90 minutes because of your job or because of your role at home or at work, then do 45 minutes or 60 minutes or 30 minutes. Incrementally get better at staying focused, because I think what happens is, if we're trying to live intentional, we get distracted by phones, social media, other people. But I think if you plan, like we're talking about, plan to be intentional. Hey guys, I need to shut my door for the next hour. I really got to get focused on this. Can you honor that? Because I got to get this done. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because
I've
I think,
never heard of that.
because one of the things that we had said was, would you rather work on something and be exhausted because you've worked on it for 5 days, an hour every day, or would you rather work on that one thing with full energy for 2 hours and get it done on one day? I'd rather do that, right? So you're being intentional about that. So for me, it's going, if I know the top three things need to be done, like if I had to do payroll, a podcast, and meet with a client all in one day, I would rather put the client in the middle of the day, payroll at the end, and the podcast at the beginning, because I have more energy to give to who's listening to this. So it's prioritizing, it's planning, and it's going for the next 90 minutes. What do I need to do? So it's just to ask yourself what needs to be taken care of in the next 90 minutes. And I think the encouragement is, if you can't do 90 minutes, do 60, 45, get up, walk around after that, give yourself 10 minutes, 5 minutes. The goal is to get the task done. The goal is to stay at and say this: I am being intentional about who I am, and I'm making time. I'm not looking for it. So I'm making time. I'm not looking for it. And I think that's a really good one, the next 90 rule. So it's a 90 rule. So for you and I are going to be intentional. Number one, plan your transitions. Number two, practice the 90 rule, the next 90 rule. Number three, this is a big one. Some people may not like it, and it may move on certain people's schedule because maybe theirs is different. But I say Sunday is our budget day. Build a time budget. So for me, it's Sunday. Maybe somebody's weekend is midweek and they have to do Wednesday or Tuesday. But have a day where you just build a time budget. For me, if I sat down and did my 30, 60, 90 and my schedule and what I have coming up, it would probably take an hour max. Now, if I'm scrolling and I'm playing a video game trying to do all this stuff, then it's going to take longer. But if you and I can make a goal to budget our week time-wise on Sunday, it should just take an hour. It should just take an hour, because you're looking.
What I need to get better at.
But some people are really good at money. Just do the same thing with your time, because you're creating a plan, like we've been saying, intentional plan. So you're not being on the defense. You're not reacting. You're going, this is what's coming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because if you and I were going on vacation, we would know this is what we're going to do on this day. That we go to the lake. Hey, we're going to eat out this day. We know how to plan. So if you and I can do this on Sundays, you know what needs to be high priority. So this is where if you go back to the last episode, what are your top three things that need to be done this week? For me, the next week, so if today was Sunday, I would tell you, I do my 30, 60, 90. So I know what's coming up 90 days from this girls will be back in school. I'll be playing in a golf tournament with Slab. So I know that because I'm sitting down, I'm looking at this daily. So, but if today's Sunday and I go, hey, what's the next week's top three? Podcast script, recording the podcast. And then next week, most of my clients are leaving because they have a trip planned, which is crazy because it's the 4th of July week. So most of my clients are out of town. So that means I don't have a third big thing. So now I need to look on Sunday and go, what do I need to make traction on for Made4More? Marketing, planning, trying to get better, a content day. What do I need to do? You see what I'm saying? So Sunday gives you the opportunity to look at your entire week and you budget your time, because you're going to tell your time where it needs to go. You're making time. You're not looking for it. So the goal is to plan the week, though. And
I was just thinking how cool it would be if we sat down as a family and did this together.
Yeah.
Like you're teaching your children how to do it as well.
Just like money.
But then there's no surprises.
Yeah.
Like they know,
Yeah, and I think what I have written down here, though, babe, I can get this way. I'll just use myself as an example. I can get so driven by my plan that when I get interrupted, I get upset. So don't do that. Try to detach emotionally and your feelings and go, well, my daughter needed something, or this person needed help, or hey, it's an emergency call. That's going to happen in life regardless. So all this to say, there's going to be things that come up, emergencies can happen. But when they come up, people walk in, people need help. Our challenge as a leader is not to look at this as a disruption, but an opportunity to remember that I can help, or maybe it's not something you need to do, and the opportunity now is to say no, because a lot of us say yes to so many things. So when you're planning this budget of time, know that you're going to have to say no to some things already off the bat. Like a month out, I know I'm playing golf, or 2 months out, I know I'm playing golf. So people are probably asking, why do you plan out 2 months? Because that's important to me. That time with the guys playing golf, it's fun because I don't get to do it and it's already paid for. So why would I say yes to something that may be important, but I know my rest and that time with the guys is important, unless it's an emergency, right? Now, if I had something planned on that day, like a day trip with Allie and Sam and you, then I'd be like, hey guys, I have to say no. So we're gonna have to learn to say no to some things, but don't let it make you the villain. Just have the opportunity to go, this is where I get a chance to say no. Yeah, I think we often get to a place where we find ourselves saying yes to everything. And when you say yes to everything, guess what? You're trying to balance too much. You're going to be burnt out. And then you get back to what we're talking about today. You're saying yes to so many things that you're going to say, I just don't have enough time. And that's the challenge, is say no, but live intentionally. So if you and I are going to be intentional, we just said, plan your transitions, use the next 90 rule, and plan a budget. So
that's good.
You got anything on that?
I think something else that I thought of with this is like, for me, when we were talking about how to get more time, you know, for me, in our family, I had to decide that I was okay working a part-time job so that I had more time to be a mother, you know. And I think we live in a culture where you feel like you have to put your kids in leagues and, you know, just constantly have your time completely full to where you're just going.
Yep.
And I think that's our culture, you know. And I mean, it came with sacrifice, you know, sacrifice for our budget and, you know, more put on you to make sure we have money for our everyday life. But it gave me the opportunity to get to,
because it's a priority.
Right, exactly.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah, exactly. That's what's
something
important to us.
Yeah, that's something I thought about with this, was like, okay, I'm not completely terrible.
No, I think you do it. We just don't.
prioritizing.
I think we all do it. We just don't realize
Yeah,
we don't do it to the extent where we remove the stress from our lives. We do it for certain things, but if we can do it for every area, I think what my goal is as a coach is to go, I don't ever want to hear someone say I'm burnt out, because it could have been prevented.
right.
And it may not be that person, it's the system that they're placing themselves in. Take ownership of that. Or, like you said, it may mean you're putting in your month notice and saying, I can't do this anymore because it's a detriment to my health.
Yeah.
Because if the doctor told you, hey, you have so many days to live, or hey, this is going on, you're going to prioritize pretty quick. So live that way so that you know. It's like the Stoic saying of live as if today's as if you know today's your last day,
Right.
and every day. So you're going, man, I'm going to give everything. So one of the ways we can is prioritize our time. If I'm prioritizing my day and I know it's my last day, I'm not going to go freaking play golf if I know I have a family, right? Or if I don't have a family, I'm not just going to go spend my time at work. I'm going to go enjoy my day.
Right.
So just learning to realize that balance doesn't exist. It's a myth. Being prioritized, living intentionally is our goal. And we work through transitions. Next 90-minute rule, use a day to budget your day, your time for the week. The goal is intentionally living out our days and not being on the defensive. And the only thing I thought was, what if we started saying things like, I chose not to make time for that. Like, I just chose not to make time for that. Take ownership.
Yeah.
Instead of saying yes to everything, I chose not to make time for that. Meaning, I have to say those words going, I chose not to do that. So it may help you, or you may just have to own, I chose not to make time for that. Okay. And then what if we started saying things like, or what if we felt like our days were less chaotic? Not because they slowed down, because we are very busy, but because we focused on clarity. And what if we knew what we were doing and why we were doing it every single day? You would feel less stressed because you know what you're going into. Meaning you have margin for emergencies and things to go not as planned. So that, again, you have a contingency plan. I think it can sound so rigid of going, I need to do this, and that. No, you're planning out your day so that you can have the whole discipline equals freedom. I have a plan because I want freedom. Um, so the fight is to become who we want to become. And it starts with clarity and going after it every single day, being consistent. We have to fight for our time and become intentional individuals. We won't always get it right, but we can sure put up a heck of a fight to be intentional. So remember, make time, don't find it, fight for intentional living and be consistent with it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
No.
No encouragement for anybody else. Just kidding.
Wow. Yes.
No, I think that it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge.
It is. It's and figuring out how to make it work for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to where it's beneficial to you. Because I mean, you know me. I've always bucked up against. How do I say it?
You don't like being told what to do.
That yes, and I don't like to feel like I'm not being successful. So sometimes even making plans and making notes, if I can't get it done, then I feel like I've failed. So then I'm like, well, forget it. I just won't make a plan and I'll just go about my life and let it be. So finding the how this could benefit me, because I can definitely see that it can be beneficial.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, working that out. And I think, like you said, just make a plan and see what happens.
Yeah, and you don't have to do all these at one time. Like I would say this week, if you want to work on transitions, work on the margin in your day, or work on just trying to do a 45-minute, what do I need to do for the next 45 minutes? Or go back to last episode and go, hey, what are the big 3 things I need to do this week? And then every single day. Or, the budget day.
I was about to say,
So,
I think the time budget
yeah,
is going to be my next step.
I just
Because I
try.
really like that. And I like knowing, you know, like our oldest, it is so important to her that she has time with us and
All
time
the
as a
time.
family.
Yep.
But I think if we sat down, because sometimes I feel like she's kind of controlling my time, you know, and so, but I think if we sat down and all of us together said, you know, this is what the week looks like, and she even knows, you know, every evening we're going to set aside a certain amount of time to just be together. I think that would help her not feel like, I don't know if this is actually going to happen, you know, or all those things. So I can definitely see how that one can be beneficial. So I'm going to try that one.
Good. Well, guys, those of you on YouTube, appreciate you tuning in. I do know that the month of July, we're going to focus on evaluations, or evaluating ourselves as leaders, evaluating our team members, individuals. Like, what is the importance of being able to evaluate what we do, how we do it, when we do it? So just evaluations. Stay tuned for that. Sign up for the weekly leadership email that comes out. And then if anyone else needs help with things like this, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling like you need help getting organized with your time, maybe you feel like you're overcommitted to a lot of things, let me know. Reach out to me, DM me, whatever you got to do, I'll help you. That's what we do. So remember, we exist for more. We're here to offer more. Don't ever give up. Every single one of us are made for more. Later, guys. All right, YouTube. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I had to, this is probably our second, third, fourth live, whatever, but we left room for comments, and some dude started posting some weird stuff, or just, so I just started deleting messages. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I just want to help people. If you know someone that needs this, let me know, share it with them, and we'll talk to you guys later.